tenets of socialism. At least it's a thought,
Rally Towel Sports family, good evening and welcome to the show. It has been quite a while since the four of us have been together. It has been a crazy busy summer for everybody. Lots of life updates. We'll touch on all of those briefly, but we're happy to be back. Football's back, and we are all extremely excited to be here. We're going to be bringing you NFC over and under predictions for the 2024 season. But most importantly, gentlemen, it's great to see everybody. Hello and welcome.
What's going on, Bobby?
Oh, yes. Hello. Let me put down my literature. Hello. Good to see you.
I read about it in a book.
What's up, everybody?
Dude, it's good to see you guys.
It's so I feel
faces.
I wonder if everybody knows we're still alive.
This is
need to make sure to share it.
Yeah,
like
good
coming
call.
back. This is like coming back from summer vacation. School just started. Everyone's having a great time. Todd, you forgot to sign my yearbook, so I'll make sure you do that.
Sure.
Aaron,
the real question is who bought? Where'd you get your shoes from? Your new school shoes?
Steve Barry's.
My favorite place. They had to change it to Going Gone because it was called Dick's Outlet, and every time I drove past it, I was like, Dick's out.
I was pretty regularly a Kohl's kid coming into the school year, but I know I signed all of your yearbooks. And let me ask you this, gentlemen: did you Hags?
Mary had never heard of Hags before.
Really?
Have it?
Wow.
Have a great summer?
Have a great summer.
I casually said it one day when I was leaving, and she was like, "Don't call me that."
Or
like,
cats.
I actually had
edgy one.
Yeah,
Haggis.
have a kick-ass summer.
Yeah.
Wow. God, dude, I forgot about Hags. That's great.
Cats kick ass this summer.
Aaron, the funny thing about this is that I guarantee Corey, Bobby, and I all three have a yearbook that we've all signed.
Wow.
With multiple,
it exists somewhere.
Yeah,
where it at? I have no idea, but it's somewhere.
I think I'm looking at the tote right now as I sit here in my basement studio. I'm pretty sure I'm looking at the tote that contains the red Fairfield South yearbooks. Paperback yearbooks, to which a lot of people that I'm probably friends with got unfortunate doodles on their face. It just happened.
So a couple missing teeth, couple devil horns, the deal.
Glasses. Yeah, you know.
That is fantastic. Well, gentlemen, I'm sure everybody has been wondering where we're at. Let's start with a little summer life updates. Who wants to go first?
I can kick it off.
Sure.
Good luck topping it, boys. Baby on the way. But no, yeah. We're officially 59 days, Akeem Davis Gaither days away from my son being born. And we're all really excited. So yeah, dude. We are getting the.
I didn't know it was a boy. Congrats, dude.
Yep. Found out it was a boy. So that's pretty fucking cool and terrifying. All together, but we're excited.
Corey shared the name with me. It's Jeremiah Owusu James.
We were going with that or Lebron.
And I said it. I think it's great.
Yeah, that or Lebron is what we're gonna go with.
I like that too.
Yeah, I think it's good.
It's original. Very original.
This is good.
Absolutely. Todd.
Well, the sad thing is, my family and I.
God, Todd, if nobody knew your story, it's so bad.
we've unfortunately split up temporarily. No, it's all good.
Is that a can of beans in the corner?
Yeah. He's on an air mattress now.
He's got a Coleman grill. That's a Coleman grill.
There's a spoon.
Are you back to the bachelor life? Air mattress, a TV, and a PlayStation?
Dude, I wish I fucking had a Coleman grill. I've got a Whirlpool microwave that's all I need right now. No, so I started a new job last week. Best part about this new job is that we're back in Cincinnati, or I'll be back next week, but Mary and Declan are back in Cincinnati within, max 30 minutes of any family member. versus 2 hours plus. So
Hell
That's
yeah.
nice. It's huge.
I'm just picturing
Pretty
you
sick.
sleeping like Big Daddy style, just in newspaper.
yeah,
His
yeah,
blankets.
yeah. I did piss the bed last night, so there is a Columbus Dispatch in the center of the air mattress. That is true.
I miss you
Yeah,
guys.
dude, it's so crazy. Like I don't know if you guys have ever experienced having to live in your former home after 99.8% of your belongings are gone.
Mm.
It feels like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm breaking into this house every day when I open the door.
That's fair.
And I'm legitimately like convinced that someone has been in here since, because I had a broom that was sitting up against the side of this wall here, and it was on another wall, and I don't know if I did it, but
You got a witch problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Good thing
I think
you're
I've let
leaving.
I've let the spirit, all the stuff's out, spirits in. I think that's how that actually works. It's what
Nice,
the
dude.
mantra is, right? So yeah, crazy. It's fucking nuts, dude. I can't believe I'm.
Well, it'll be great to have you back down in the area, and
Yes, sir.
we're gonna have to teach you how to play golf at some point. So next
Yeah.
time they're all down, we can all go.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll get you out there.
I mean, I did have an invite to play golf last Saturday, but I was helping Todd move back down to Cincinnati. So we had
he
priorities.
He did move my whole entire house with me. It's
I was
pretty
like, dude,
intense,
just
man.
tell him you can't.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna kind of mess with my takeaway.
Aaron, any big? I mean, I feel like all of you guys have started new jobs within the last year. Is that right?
Yeah, I started a new job at the beginning of this year, and
Okay.
I am now on my third different title. So
Holy
that's
shit.
exciting. So I've been pretty busy the last, especially month plus, but really just all of the summer as my dog's mosh pitting in the back. I love it.
Get after it, dude.
But yeah, no, I got a promotion in July.
Congrats.
And thank you. But yeah, it's been pretty busy, but it's starting to, as I kind of get more acclimated to the increased workload, it's starting to kind of settle off just in time for football season. I
Right.
told him, I was like, here's
Perfect.
the deal. Let's get all the work in now, because I'm working 3-hour days. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'll tell you one of the most beautiful things. I obviously got I got promoted back in April, like right before we stopped like potting.
Early, yeah.
And so now as the school year is rolling back, we've had some staffing changes, but my management team, a lot of them are in college, so their schedules are pretty set. So I will literally be off every Sunday afternoon.
Oh, that's sick.
There's
Nice.
never gonna be like I work retail and I'm gonna have every Sunday afternoon off because of
Oh,
this
that's
schedule.
amazing. That's
So-
amazing.
It looks like we made it.
Goddamn right we did. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
yeah.
thing.
Dude, you know it's
Congrats,
crazy.
man. That's awesome.
The due date of the boy is it's seemingly one of the greatest Saturdays in the history of college football. You've got like Florida, Tennessee, Ohio State, Oregon. I'm missing a
it's
few
like-
other.
So you're basically gonna miss that entire day to have your child.
He'll be
To
on.
watch
he'll be on.
watch football is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the
He'll still
entire
be
day of your
watching
child being born to watch football. That's
Go
what I was
Gators.
getting at.
She'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll get it.
She
Yeah.
did this once already, and it was double the work.
Twice,
First time.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Now she's just,
This is light work.
just
Training wheels are
selfish.
off, really.
They don't
Such
like
a fucked way.
Holy shit! All right.
And we're not live. We just got canceled. Live.
Yeah, I don't think Katie's gonna
It was,
like
it was,
that.
it was, it was fun while it
Yes.
lasted for the 5 minutes that it did. That's what she said. Okay. Well, without further ado, tonight's topic, NFC over and unders. Obviously we've got NFC over under this week. We got AFC over under next week. And then we'll obviously dive in. Fantasy football drafts are going to be starting, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversations. How many leagues is everybody in this year? Just put a number up. Todd,
Got 3.
are you just
sorry.
1, 2,
3.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in 4 leagues this year. I'm not happy to be the leader in the clubhouse in this one.
You're
But,
insane.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. 4 leagues. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I win one. 25%.
That's too many, Bob.
Yeah, well, I mean, one's for work, one's for the gaming page, one's my brother's league that I played in for almost 20 years, and then Todd invited me to the brother-in-law league, which there's one team that's dedicated to Jesus Christ, and he gets every pick, and everybody has to agree to the trades, and it's pretty wild. So
Wait, what?
I'm completely joking.
I
It
was
was just a running joke that Tony and I had on Sunday.
I was like, Charlie Whitehurst?
I love inside jokes. I hope to be a part of one day.
But no, 4 leagues, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to manage, but we'll figure it out. But other than that, let's go ahead and dive in, guys. Do you guys have a particular division you want to start with, or you just want me to roll?
Ooh.
I want you to roll.
Okay,
Let's
fantastic.
all roll.
Let's get hot and heavy early. We're gonna start with the NFC East.
Oh shit! All right, let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna start with the New York Football Giants. FanDuel. So we're going off FanDuel here, chat.
Okay.
It's one of the most popular gambling websites that is in America. I'm sure everybody here uses it or has used it at some point in time.
No.
But FanDuel has the Giants over under at 6.5 games. Obviously, they lost Saquon over the offseason. Huge hit to them. They're still riding with Daniel Jones. It could potentially be a tough season for the Giants. Obviously, you see where the line's at. Aaron, lead it off, brother. 6.5.
Yeah. This team sucks. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna lock the under early. Under 6.5. I think this
worst team in the NFC East.
What's that?
Not. I said maybe not even the worst team in the NFC East either.
I think it's a good bet to take them as the team with the worst record in the league this year. I think vibes
Worst
are an
record
all-time
in
low.
the league.
I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying I like the odds for it.
I want to backpedal real quick. Are we doing a lock with each division? Are we doing that?
Yeah, you got to lock. You got to
lock
one for each division.
Of course.
So I'm going to go ahead and lock this one in. 7
Locking
is
it in. Okay.
7 is way too high for this team. Daniel Jones is going to be coming back, playing quarterback for this team. I mean, don't get me wrong. Love Malik Neighbors. I think that's going to help their offense. But the vibes are at an all-time low when you lose your best player, who ultimately was a running back anyway, and you're looking at the void that they're having on offense. I don't see the skill positions for them to compete in today's NFL, and I don't think that they have an adequate enough defense in order to stop teams where 17 or 20 points is going to get you a win. So personally, I think this is the worst team in the division. I think it's going to be a bad year in New York for the Giants. 6.5, way too high.
So I really want to dovetail off that. I know all of us are on social media. Most of everybody that watches this is on social media. The Giants fumbled the bag. Like, when you saw the videos of the talks, like with Saquon and how that whole process went down, it was pretty gross.
Recap it.
In my opinion. So essentially, like, you've got all the coaches in the office, you've got the GM. They're all sitting there talking Saquon, how they can make it work. And at the end of the day, they just said, we're not going to pay Saquon X. We're not going to go there. And his agent said, okay, bet. And next thing you know, he's an Eagle. Division rival. Like,
Corey, you're going to probably echo. Go ahead, please.
I agree with not re-signing Saquon.
I do too.
What's the path forward there? I just don't. What's a winning team in this league? Let me preface this. Saquon's a really good running back, probably one of the best in the league, right? We're all on the same page there, right?
Sure.
What's a winning team? And by that, I mean a team that is, at the point now where they can compete, or they are regularly competing for, or they're going far in the playoffs. A team that is building their roster rather around a running back. It's not really a winning recipe, and I think it all goes through the quarterback. And
I mean,
While
they signed Daniel Jones for 160 million the previous year.
well, they can get out of that after this year. That's the great thing.
Yeah, it's really not
about that contract's pretty much a moot point at this juncture. At this point where they're at as a team, they can pretty much move forward. Although I hate to kind of just be an echo chamber over here, but I'm walking through the Giants' schedule right now. There are 4 games that they might be able to win, and 2 of those are the Commanders. They have a fucking tough schedule as I'm just walking through. I mean, we'll talk about JJ, I'm sure, when we get to the north, but their roster's not better than the Vikings, who they open up against. I don't think that's one that sure, maybe call it 5 games that they could maybe win. They've got the Browns, they've got the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Bengals, the Eagles, the Steelers, the Cowboys, again, obviously divisional rival, the Ravens, the Colts, who I think I'm pretty high on this year, and then obviously ending the season again with the Eagles. That's not a fun schedule for a team that is trying to figure out who the fuck they are. I'm locking the under as well with Aaron on this one.
All right, fair enough, Todd.
Yeah, look, I think did you guys all watch the lead up Hard Knocks, lead up to draft, the whole 5
I didn't watch the whole
series
thing,
of
but
that?
I caught some of it. Yeah.
So my key takeaway from watching that is that there is no synchronization within that organization. That was my big takeaway from watching that.
Same.
It just felt like that
Nobody's on the same page.
Yeah, the decisions that were made by the general manager weren't necessarily condoned by the owner. A lot of, I really believe that this show kind of portrayed Brian Dable as just kind of like, fuck it, we're not going to be good anyway. Let's just get best available and see what happens. And the show also portrays him in a way of like he wasn't super on board with the Brian Burns trade. I don't know the validity of that. I can't imagine that, getting one of the better pass rushers within, the NFC hurts your feelings necessarily after you just drafted an edge rusher the year prior in the first round. Like you're building yourself up to at least limit the damage. But the problem is that the defense is going to be on the field 65 to 70% of the time anyway, because I don't believe that they'll be able to move the ball up and down the field more than 2 to 3 times a game to put points on. I'm not even calling it touchdowns. I'm just saying points on the board. I agree. I think that they are set up as a whole to be the worst team in the NFL just based on – I don't really see – there's nothing – I like Malik Neighbors is fine, but I could see him being a good receiver, but I don't trust Daniel Jones to get him the ball or target him 10 to 12 times a game like he should. And then you couple that with their whole offensive line is basically brand new. It's pieced together, and it just seems like this is a Dable Shane firing scenario after the season. So I'm not locking it because we've got 2 locks, but I'm taking the under here as well.
As well, you got 1 lock for each division. So East, North, South, West. So
one thing I will say, I guess, it just kind of a shimmer of hope here. One, I'm not entirely convinced that Dayball is gone after this year. If they are the worst,
yeah, I'm not either.
Just because he won Coach of the Year 2 years ago, I think that rings true, and I don't think they've given him much to work with. But this could be the best wide receiver that Daniel Jones has ever had.
I think it is, right? I mean,
let's pump the brake. He hasn't played a snap of NFL football yet, but it's definitely not Kadarius Toney. Like, yeah,
right. Well, think about what he's had since he's been in the league. I mean, they've drafted him. You said Toney. They drafted Wan'Dale Robinson in the 2nd round a couple of years ago. That was supposed to be a kind of a Tyreek Hill-esque target for him. Yep. Their best receiver last year was a practice, like an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Like I just by default, Malik Neighbors is the best target that he's had, at least in terms of top out, like real true ceiling, in my opinion.
Sure.
So, it's just crazy to me that they still have Darius Slayton and his like 700 yards, 3 touchdowns every year.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to mirror Todd's sentiments. I do think this is an under. The NFL has parity every year. 6.5, just I don't know. They're going to be bad, and I think the under clears here. But I've got a lock in this division that I think is a little bit better of a guarantee than the under at 6.5 here. So, all right, boys. Well, let's move on. Next team in the division, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, they added Saquon. They are minus Jason Kelsey, but other than that, it's your Philadelphia Eagles. So, Corey, why don't you lead us off on this one?
All right, so I'm gonna fucking shotgun this and do it alive here. I'm basically, when I'm looking at these teams that I feel pretty good about, I'm looking at games that they are kind of coin flippy.
Sorry, let me preface this: the Eagles over under is 10.5 games.
10.5
for those playing at home. 10.5 games, so 11 is the mark. If you're hitting the over, 9's the under, or 10's the under. Excuse me.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would say that they've probably got about 8 games that are coin flippy. So just based on the statistics, I'm going to go with somewhere around the 4 to 5 mark.
So you're taking the under.
I'm 10.5 wins.
Yeah,
I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over on the Eagles here at 10.5. As you mentioned, not a whole lot of roster turnover. We feel really good about the way the Eagles have drafted. Biggest concern here, I feel like 10.5 is pretty low, honestly. The biggest concern for this team, obviously, is just the way that they finished the season last year. Did the Eagles get figured out? And that's going to be the biggest question. But Vegas is on top, all over the Eagles this year. So 10.5 just feels really low for me for a team that I think went 10-0 to start the season last year. It seems a little bit low. So I feel comfortable taking that, especially a team I think it's got 3rd or 4th best Super Bowl odds out of everybody. So yeah, give me the over on 10.5.
Absolutely, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just taking a quick gander at the depth chart here, and obviously, only like you talked about Jason Kelsey being a key departure. They also lost Hassan Reddick, but then they turned around and signed Bryce Huff immediately. I think even maybe prior to the trip for Hassan Reddick's trade to the Jets. So, and then go out and get really 2 of the top 5 defensive backs in the draft in the first and the beginning of the second round as well, which we kind of saw towards the back half of the season where they struggled. A lot of it was they were just getting hammered over the air.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Corey hit the nail on the head here, fellas. 10.5 seems light. Seems light for a team that really the only variance here is new OC and DC. And, you know, I am interested to see Kellen Moore work with Jalen Hurts or, you know, vice versa, however you want to look at it. I think that's an interesting pairing of – I don't think Kellen Moore has had as much of a dynamic athlete as Jalen Hurts in his offensive coordinator career. I don't consider Dak Prescott or Justin Herbert the true kind of the dual threat the way that Jalen Hurts exists. But really even just looking maybe the struggle is after A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, where do the targets go? I mean, they still have Dallas Goedert. They signed Paris Campbell in the offseason. That's a serviceable slot receiver. But
Saquon is a hell of a receiver out of the backfield.
That's exactly what I was getting to. You just got yourself an additional, 5 to 7 targets in the backfield for a guy that easily can get you 100 yards total from scrimmage every single game if used properly. And I don't see that being a problem.
So we talked about this.
Ryan, thank you for the like, by the way.
10.5 being light. I think that's the highest over. Is that the highest over under?
11.5. They typically don't have.
So the 49ers are 11.5. The Lions and the Eagles are 10.5. Those are the 3 highest in the NFC.
KC, I know we're only doing NFC, but KC is also 11.5.
So listen, there's going to be a team that wins 13 games this year, at least one, if not multiple. So just keep that in mind. Just for the viewers out there, there's going to be a team that wins 13 football games. So that's going to happen. Ryan, neighbor, Fox Bay neighbor, what's up, Ryan? Thanks for dropping by, buddy. We'll get to the Lions later tonight. Faux show. We're doing the whole NFC over-unders tonight.
Yeah, we got the North coming up next. So
crack a beer.
We'll work through the East. Crack a beer.
Stay a while.
Sit down, unbutton them pants, and enjoy, brother.
Smoking a pancake, bong and a blintz.
Brother, if you're still wearing pants with buttons at 9 o'clock, I don't know what you're doing.
Right. Exactly. After 9 o'clock, it's Thanksgiving, big dog.
Truer words have never been said.
But no, I mean, I think 10.5 is a decent line. I think it's a little light, but at the end of the day, they did go through a major change at offensive line with Jason Kelsey.
I think that's a little overblown.
I think it's overblown. I think that's the reason for the line, but you do also have to recognize that he is one of the biggest reasons that the tush push was successful.
Yeah, but it was still successful pretty much everywhere else in the league last year, just not to the same percentage as the Eagles. If they go to league average, it's still a great play.
Yeah, I mean it's still a great play, but it's not as like on command as it used to be. Granted, he has a lot of versatility in the run game with his ability to pull and get out and get in front of people. So there's going to be some offensive line schemes that are definitely going. I mean, they still have Lane Johnson, which is great, but they're going to have to game plan. Sirianni is going to have to come up with a little bit different of a game plan to make sure that they're successful in the run game. So, but you've got Saquon Barkley. That shouldn't be a huge deal. I'm still going to take the over. This isn't anything I'm going to lock. I think 10.5 is a little light. I think they win 12 games this year in the regular season. That's my prediction. I don't see 13 or 14 games from the Eagles this year.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think the Kelsey retirement is overblown, and I also think the Saquon signing is a little overblown. Personally, back to Kelsey. They have Cam Jurgens. I mean, they spent a second-round pick on this guy in 2022. If they were just trying to plug a rookie in this year, I would have a little less faith. But it's a guy who's been in the system for a couple years. He's learned behind Kelsey for the last two. I kind of like, if you're going to lose a guy like that, at least it's somebody you spent high draft capital on, who's had the ability to learn behind him, learn the system, be in it, be at practice every single day. It's not like a guy that they got in free agency off the street to fill in that position. I actually think they're going to be just fine there. Obviously, I'm not trying to undersell the importance of Jason Kelsey. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the most important Philadelphia Eagles, that they've seen in the last, frankly, their franchise's history.
His narration on their hype video this year was actually pretty sick.
Yeah. And then when it comes to Saquon, it was one of those moves in the offseason where I was like, oh, that's pretty sexy. But it's kind of lost its luster a little bit, where it's like, yeah, cool, they won that day in the free agency news cycle, but let's see how that looks on the field. Jalen Hurts is probably still going to be your goal line back in theory, but I completely agree with what you guys are saying. Saquon Barkley as a receiving threat between the 20s, I think will be interesting how their offense kind of develops from there. Of course, they might have the best wide receiver duo in the league, arguably, and their defense is still stout. I think 10.5 is a little light. I'm going to take the over here.
So Saquon's going to be his seventh year in the league. He came into the league in 2018. So he got franchise tagged twice, right? He has rookie deal, and then he got franchise tagged twice, and then he was a free agent and he went to Philly. So,
he was a first runner, right? So his first 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Picked up the
he got franchise tagged in 2022 and tagged last year.
Well, didn't they say you can only franchise twice, right? And I'm remember when we all watched that Hard Knocks thing, he's like, we're not going to do the franchise thing again. We're going to let you test the market. So what I'm saying is he played on his 5th-year deal, franchise
on his
tag.
5th year,
7th year.
Tagged. He didn't get tagged this year. Because he got tagged for like 11.5 or 12 last year. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. Aaron, you're taking the over, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I can't believe nobody brought up the fucking sets of quads that are going to be in that backfield. You guys are missing the mark here.
Well, I'm surprised you
had an opportunity, Todd. You're here.
Well, I think somebody talked about the tush push and didn't talk about the fact that Jalen Hurts is probably the reason that's mostly successful. And I don't think it's Travis Kelce. I think it's Jalen Hurts is the reason why they're able to.
Well, I would say Travis Kelce has zero responsibility for that.
What? I'm sorry, Jason Kelce. Sorry. I was like, what? What? You know that. So, I think, Jalen Hurts. Is the reason why that happened.
They can absolutely get after it on a squat.
I didn't want to steal the spotlight in the conversation. I didn't want to bring up the quads. I was hoping somebody else would.
One more thing, real quick about the Eagles. We talk about this a couple of times. We talk about Sirianni. We talk about McDaniel. We'll talk about that when we get to the AFC. This is it for Sirianni, in my opinion, where this is the deciding season for me, is where it goes. You had a lot of success, and then last year the season easily squandered. You could have had home field running away in the NFC, no questions asked. squandered the season away. And I've said it on here last season a lot, maybe even seasons prior. The real testament of a head coach is not when things are going well. It's when things aren't going well. And what does the team do? How do they rally around together? How do they galvanize?
How do they respond to adversity?
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be this is a big test for Sirianni in his young head coaching career. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think the reason you'd be confident about the over, though, is they limped into 11 last year, and I can still live in a world where they have 11 wins and they go, I think we're going to fire him. Mainly because it happened last year.
Yeah.
Facts. Absolutely. All right, well, let's run over to the other shit team in this division, the good old Washington Commanders. They're going to have a tough go about it this year. Over under is 6.5 games. We're going around the horn. So Todd, it is your turn, my friend. 6.5 games of Commanders. We got.
Fellas, I remember doing this last year, and
like in the video.
One of the main things that we kind of discussed as we went through and gave over-unders, a big part of conversations in the AFC was rookie quarterback play. We briefly discussed it with Bryce Young as well. I think just based on how last season panned out for all but one rookie quarterback, I'm inclined to take the under here for Washington. And I'm basing that off of, I think that Jaden Daniels does have some like real legitimate weapons, right? I think that their backfield is a pretty interesting combo with Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler. This gives Eckler the first opportunity kind of later in his career to not be the workhorse. There's going to be some good split time. I think even Brian Robinson Jr. is probably listed as the RB1 in this depth chart here. But the main thing for me is I felt like a lot of what they did and have done is still, we're in year one of a rebuild here, fellas. Yep. And I'm not going to think that a rebuild, I think the Texans that's a fucking swan song. That's not really reality for most franchises. So I'm taking the under based on rookie quarterback and, new entire coaching staff, new front office. It's okay for them to be really bad. They want another high pick again. They want to continue to build on that. So taking the under based on that.
Sure. Aaron.
This one's actually a lot harder for me than I expected it to be. 6.5 seems a little heavy. But I actually can live in a world where Jaden Daniels has a really good rookie year. I think he's going to be similar to how we saw RG3 his rookie year in Washington. Now, I don't know what that means for long-term success. The guy's very, very light for how big he is and how he plays with his body. Is that going to hold up for an entire season? I don't really know. He's listed as 6'4", 210. He looks maybe that soaking wet. But, they did bring in some interesting veterans on this team, which is what makes it a little bit interesting to me. They have Marcus Mariota as the backup. You have Austin Eckler as the backup. You have Bobby Wagner on the defense. These are guys who have had, long-term success in this league. Mariota notwithstanding, but he's a decent backup, right? I find it interesting. 6.5 is really tough for me to take 7. When I'm going vibes tonight, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over on the Commanders. I think there's always that team that's going to surprise you a little bit. And there's just something about this roster and the way it's constructed. And I can see Jaden Daniels having a very electric rookie year, potentially rookie of the year.
Todd, did you lock
get
the
all
under?
the opportunities?
You took the under. Okay, got it.
So we'll take the over there.
Aaron's got the over. Todd's got the under. Corey, what you got?
Yeah, I'm stealing my thunder tonight. I love Jake Daniels. I think he's potential to probably be. I'm going to go with. I'll say second best quarterback in this draft.
Wow.
I really like him. I really, really like him.
I do too.
I think he's got a fucking cannon. And Todd alluded to it too. I love the weapons on this team. I absolutely love the weapons on this team. I think that they can be effective. And looking at their schedule, there's a lot of games that they can easily. week 1 against the Buccaneers. I'm not scared of the Buccaneers this year. They don't have any clue what's going on offensive line. Then they go into the Giants. They're going to get curb stopped by the Bengals the next week. But then they got the Cardinals, probably get decimated by the Browns, Ravens. Then they got the Panthers, the Bears. We don't really know who that is. They got the Giants again. They'll get beat by the Steelers, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Titans. I don't know what who are the Titans? Who are the Tennessee Titans right now?
Bad.
Just old Bengals? Like what are they? The Saints? Do you believe in Derek Carr still? Like why? Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys ended. There's a lot of games here that this team can just sneak away and win. And don't be shocked if on a Thursday night they grab one from fucking Dallas or something like that. The Cowboys shit the bed. Something crazy like that. Which I just based on the way this division is going, I kind of know what Todd's lock's going to be in the next one, just because I know my buddy. I'm taking the over here too, man. I'm pumping vibes. I feel like this guy can be really, really good in this league, and especially with what he's got to work with. They're going to have to outscore everybody because I don't think they might be bottom 3rd in the league in sacks this season.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
Corey, quick question for you because I was similarly kind of on the fence there a little bit. Like 6.5 seems heavy, right? Like I don't see a world where this team wins more than 7 games. So like statistically, you would say, okay, odds are they're probably going to go under. But I'm with you, man. Like there's just something about the vibe on this team. Again, I don't think they'll win more than 7, but 7 seems right.
A lot of experience around a rookie quarterback. That's all. And I think that says
Agreed.
something because a lot of these rebuilds, that's not the case, right? A lot of these rebuilds, at least the weapons that they're working with, there's not a lot of experience around them.
Sure.
So
Zach Ertz was the one I forgot to mention for
that's a hell
veteran
of a
with
pickup.
long-term
That's a hell of a
success in the
pickup.
league. Yeah,
hell of a pickup. Yeah. So it's gonna be. I enjoy Thursday night games with the Commanders. I actually enjoy them. So it'll be fun to watch Jaden Davis.
So I tend to disagree with you, Corey. I went through and I looked at the schedule game for game, and I only counted 5 games that I think they can actually win. And then obviously you've got a couple flyers that they could potentially win. I think the 6.5 is a pretty damn good line for this team. I'm going to ride with Todd and take the under on this one. I think it's too close to lock. I think they could potentially win 7. You made some great points about them sneaking out with some games against the Cowboys because the Cowboys always just lose a game to teams they shouldn't lose to.
Sure.
But yeah, this line's not good enough for me to touch a lock on this, but I am going to take the under on this one.
I swear we have to start implementing a game like where it's like you got to drink every time you say, this line seems right. It's like, yeah, Vegas knows what they're doing.
Right.
Not enough beers in the world.
I swear to God, though, like if you go watch any of our over-under shows, I was like,
try.
this seems right.
This seems like a really damn good line. But this is where I say on the next team, this is a horrible line. Cowboys 9.5. This is a terrible line. I am hammering the over on this. This is my lock. Cowboys over 9.5. I just think that's way too low. What do you guys say, Aaron?
No. I'm just so excited
ahead.
because keep going.
Me
and Corey already know.
I know that taking the Cowboys on anything is such a risk, but God, 9.5 just seems too damn low. It just seems too low. He's got one of the best receivers in the league. Dak's coming off a year that he could have won MVP. Well, with the stat line that he put up. Like, there was a point last season where we were all saying, like, why is he not in the conversation? He should have been in the conversation. But yeah, 9.5 is too low. There's no shot that they don't win less than 10 games. So I am absolutely locking this in.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, you're 100% wrong, brother. This is a 9-18. This is a 9-18.
I don't think so.
I'm calling it right now, buddy. There's look, we all know how I feel about Mike McCarthy. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole there. I don't think that they got any better anywhere. I think that they had the worst free agency in football.
Yeah.
They tend to.
They do.
They're not a free agent team. It's not what they do.
Jerry Jones decided before we even talked about what they're doing with Micah Parsons that he was going to make sure that they tagged him as a linebacker, so they paid him less money. So that's a conversation that's already been had. So you're telling your best player on your roster that he is worth less than what he has done for you for the last 4 years, right? So I'll just start with that.
Vibes.
Jerry Jones also decided that he was like, I'm not worried about CeeDee Lamb. I'm not worried about what's going on here. It's football. Hey, dumbass, you spent all your money in the wrong place. I'm just saying. And you're paying Dak Prescott a third of the salary cap.
So what I'm hearing is you're locking the under.
Sure. I think all three of you knew that I was going to lock the under on the Cowboys.
I knew you were.
When we started talking about the NFC East. I think that it's a simple recipe, fellas. You gotta, when you bring in a new DC, you got to figure out where your defense gets better. And I don't think they got any better on defense. I really firmly believe that they got worse on offense. I think that, running back is what it is, but you brought in a guy that you tossed out last year. You brought him back on the low, and then you gave him a running back that it's not a coupling. And I agree. I think Dak Prescott had a great year. But what happens when they give up 37 to 42 points a game, which I could foresee happening this year?
So I'm also going with the under. Obviously, it's not my lock here, but the reason why. Here's their schedule. They open in Cleveland. That's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. They have a nice home game against the Saints, which they should walk away winning. Then they got to bring the Ravens into town. Also not fun. Then they got a nice easy game against the Giants. Then it's at Pittsburgh for a primetime game. The Lions come into town. Then they go into San Francisco. They could be 2-5 to start the season, or 2-4 to start the season. 2-5. Sorry, they could be 2-5 to start the season. They could lose to the Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Lions, and 49ers to start the season. That's brutal.
I hope it happens.
That is, I know you don't want the Cowboys to win. You're going to be happy if as a Steelers fan, you're going to be happy if you're wrong on this one. But then we haven't even touched the Eagles yet. And then they got the Texans, the Bengals, the Eagles again. There's a lot of games here that these guys could absolutely lose. We saw what, they slip up against Arizona last year. Was it last year? What was the shirtless year, Bob? Was that 2 years ago?
That was last year.
Last year.
That was week 3 last year.
Yeah, they got absolutely fucking swamped.
We finally raised enough money for charity.
Put your shirt back on.
And those pepperonis had to go away.
It was terrible.
Man. All right. I'm going to try to touch
my shoulders are a little bit bigger this year, so.
Yeah. He's going to make bad bets on purpose so he can show up.
Your boy's been hitting them pull-ups and push-ups. So.
All right, when you guys blink, I have to take my shirt off for the rest of the show.
Panthers win the NFC South. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna try to hit this from a different angle. Pause.
Listen, pause is very important.
Todd touched on it a little bit, but what the fuck were they doing this offseason? Can someone explain that to me? Nothing. Okay,
they had a really bad.
So I have this pulled up here. The Cowboys have the lowest cash spending of any team in the NFL right now at $207 million. That is about $30 million less than the next team, which is the Steelers. The Dallas Cowboys, according to Forbes, is the highest valued sports team in the motherfucking world at $9.2 billion.
I already knew that. Before you
reason.
continued dropping that, I was like, fuck. Like you said the Steelers, and I was like, shit, they haven't spent a dime.
There's no reason to be spending no money. There's no reason why they're doing this. And there's been a lot of talk about people's ages this summer and should they be stepping aside and what should they do for the greater good. Jerry Jones is a month age difference than our commander-in-chief who decided to step down. Jerry, step the fuck aside, bro. Okay. What are you doing? We're done here. This is handed off to your son. I have no idea what you're doing. That being said, hate the Cowboys. Stick around for a little bit longer. I'm also taking the under They didn't get better anywhere. You're gonna have a disgruntled wide receiver. 9.5 is light, Bobby. I kind of believe they're going to hit the over here. Certainly, wouldn't lock it, but I believe that they did absolutely nothing this year, and the vibes are so bad. I'm doing this off vibes this year because it's not like the research I did last year helped me out that much.
That's fair.
I'm taking the under here on the Cowboys.
No, that's fair. I'm glad that
step down, sir.
I just stupidly put my faith back in the Cowboys.
You sure did.
As my ride or die on the first podcast of the season. My first lock is in the Cowboys, so this is obviously going to be a train wreck for me. So we'll just kind of skip it and keep going.
I'm glad Corey missed my rant.
You're gonna do great, buddy.
Thanks, Corey. I feel like a piece of shit. Thank you. You guys did nothing but instill massive amounts of confidence in me.
Look, you could be fading the masses and be absolutely correct. I just believe that you're firmly wrong. That's all we're doing.
Hey, Bobby, can you do me a favor and be a little bit nicer to my friend Bob over there, okay? Can you do that for me? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about fucking Caleb Williams. Let's move to the north.
Oh. Hold on, let me get my nail polish.
We got the Chicago Bears. 8.5 games is the line. Corey, lead us off. Chicago Bears 8.5.
All right, giving it to me off the jump here. I gotta pull this shit up. So here's what I will say. Last year I was just like, I put faith into. I took the over on the Bears, and you know what they did? They said, Corey, bite the pillow. We're coming in dry. Here's the thing. This team's got a tough fucking road ahead of them, boys. You said 8.5?
8.5.
All right, let's look at games I think they can absolutely win. Week 1 against the Titans, they can absolutely win this game. Panthers.
So we know where Corey stands on the Titans.
Commanders. Patriots, absolutely. Cardinals, they can definitely beat them. I think they could probably split with the Pack. Definitely split with the Vikings. Dude. This is tough. I got to take the under. There's too many 50-50 games here. I think they get swept absolutely by the Lions. I think there's a very good chance they get swept by the Packers. The Seahawks, I'm not really big on the Seahawks, which we'll talk about them in a little bit. They'll win that one. Patriots are dog shit. Commanders, The Rams, the Texans, they got a tough fucking road ahead of them. I'm taking the 8.5, 9 wins. 9 wins
for a rookie.
No. Yeah, I'm taking the under here.
Winning season for a rookie. It's a 8.5 is an extremely tough number. Obviously the Bears got very, very good offensively over the offseason. You know, they added a lot of weapons. You know, you've got a rookie quarterback who in the preseason has looked decent, but preseason isn't what preseason used to be. Like,
okay, Aaron Rodgers.
It's not. Like, when's the last time you sat down and watched a preseason game? All
Did
4
it on
quarters?
Saturday.
All 4 quarters?
Yes.
You watched all 4 quarters?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm sick.
I'm a sick individual. Aaron, what do you think? 8.5 games on the Bears.
I'll just go ahead and drink. It's a good number. It's a tough one, man, because like here's the thing. I actually think Caleb Williams is going to be really good. I think he's going to be a difference maker right out of the gate. I love the
best
Roma
rookie?
Dunze. I think he's going to be the best rookie quarterback. Yeah. I think by the end of this year we could be, potentially having a conversation about him the same way we did about CJ Stroud after this last
3 years
offseason.
from now.
Yeah. Don't know. I have no idea. I mean, like
that's a guess, Aaron.
I mean, like, yeah, I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah, I really do. I think he's going to be an absolute difference maker. Also, keep in mind the bar is insanely low in Chicago in terms of what passes for starting level quarterback. In the same way that you saw Tua getting that deal in Miami, they just don't really have a benchmark to go against, right? In terms of what does success look like for the quarterback position. They haven't had one in Miami since Dan Marino, and they haven't had one in Chicago since ever.
Cutler,
what's that?
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, Jay Cutler. Okay, sure. So Roma Dunze, I think him and Caleb are going to have an electric combination right out of the gate. Like, I think the vibes are going to be super high there. The concern of Keenan Allen apparently showing up 2:30 for training camp, as Booger would say, is a Popeye's biscuit away from playing tight end, is a little concerning. But they didn't really give up a lot to get him. And I think part of the thing we're sleeping on is the addition of Montez Sweat that they brought in last year, and he came in and made a difference pretty immediately. So I think that defense is going to be a little bit better. Yeah, absolutely.
From the trade deadline, I mean, sorry.
That being said, I think at best they're the third best team in this division, so I have to, out of principle, take the under.
Cool. God.
Corey, remember all the things you said about Jaden Daniels being in Washington?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's the same way I feel about Caleb Williams in Chicago.
It's fair.
I firmly feel that way. And I think, obviously, most recently they paid DJ Moore, but they paid Jalen Johnson. I think that's huge. I think Jalen Johnson is a top 5 cornerback in the league in a division where it's necessary to be a top 5 cornerback. I think that helps them significantly. Obviously, Aaron just talked about Montez Sweat. I think that's a big deal. They brought in Tremaine Edmonds in the offseason. I think that gives them like a real, true inside linebacker that's going to eat up tackles. Like, they got better this offseason, fellas. And here's the thing. Keenan Allen being 230 that doesn't mean shit. He's just there to hang out. I think he just wanted to go to a team where he was going to get his last contract. I think this is it for him. I think he's just done after this.
It's that deep dish, buddy. It'll get you.
Yeah. I think he's toast. But I think there could be 2 9-8 teams in this division, fellas, and I believe that this is one of those teams that could be 9-8. So I'm taking the over here.
This was the toughest one for me, Todd. I completely agree with that pick as well.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Well, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna stand on the horse that I've stood on. I don't think Caleb Williams is shit.
Sit on him.
I'm walking the under for the Bears. I do not like Caleb Williams. I don't like his game. I do not think they are going to be a winning team in this league this year. 8.5 means 9 wins, and 9 wins is a winning season. I am locking the under here.
So here's the thing. Chicago has never had a 4,000-yard passer, right? I think there's a real opportunity that happens this year. I really do feel that way.
I believe you. That's what I said, Todd. Like, for Chicago, if he even gets close to that, they're going to be so just in love with this guy.
Yeah. They're going to give him every opportunity. He's going to throw the ball a ton.
I mean, because let's be very clear. That could happen, and the under still hits.
Yes,
I know. Exactly. That's where I'm getting to. Is that they're going to have their first 4,000-yard passer, and they'll probably end up going 7-10. It'll be the best thing that's happened in Chicago in a long time.
Well, I was going to say the under can hit, and vibes will be high.
Yeah. I understand where Bobby's coming from, because I'm not set on Caleb Williams being offensive rookie of the year or anything, but I think of any of the rookie quarterbacks, he is set up the most to be successful, right? And I think that what I've watched from the first 2 episodes of the Bears Hard Knocks that I've watched, he is a very good system quarterback, and that will take you a long way in the NFL, being a very good system quarterback.
Thanks a lot, Carolina.
That's really the only. I think he gets to 4,000 yards because the system's set up for him to throw for 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's it. They brought in the OC to do that. Look what the OC this guy did for Geno Smith. I think it's all lined up for him.
So if you want to talk about great systems, we can move on to the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. System quarterbacks. They are built around that. That line is 9.5 for the old Green Bay Packers, Mr. Gottschall. 9.5 for Jordan Love in the pack. What do you got?
This is a 10-17, fellas. That's where I'm hitting the over. This feels like a wild card 10-17 that will do some damage in the playoffs. I don't think that they'll get lucky enough to line up against a team like Dallas going into the playoffs in the first round again, just because I don't believe Dallas will win their division. But again, I think this is a prime example of, really the only hole that they had to fill. Pause. is running back, and they got Josh Jacobs, and he got paid. So I think that this is kind of a 180 season for him. They went out and got Xavier McKinney, which I think is a very nice addition to their secondary. They paid him to be a nice addition to their secondary. And the recipe that they've had since they drafted Jordan Love is that they don't draft offensive players in the first round. And I have you'd be hard pressed to tell me that system hasn't worked. So I gotta take the over here.
Absolutely. Aaron.
Yeah, I'm taking the over. Let's just break down Jordan Love's second half stats of the season last year. Passing touchdowns 17 first, total touchdowns 19 first, passing yards 2162 first. He was electric in the second half of the year last year. He obviously built off of that. He probably got a little prematurely paid, but he also kind of bet on himself a little bit, and I think he got rewarded for that. Again, the next quarterback to sign is always going to be the richest. We're never going to look at this in 3 years, so I don't really give a shit about that. It's just off-season fodder and stuff for us to talk about, so I don't really mind too much about contracts. I think the Packers are going to be a sneaky good team. Todd, I'm with you. 10 wins seems exactly a 10-7 team is exactly what I picture out of this team that can maybe make some noise in the playoffs. I think they're going to kind of just continue that trajectory that they had in the second half of the year last year. I'm going to take the over here for the Packers. And that's it.
Cool. Corey.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the schedule here. It looks very, very easy, relatively speaking. Obviously, they got a pretty tough start going Eagles-Colts. We'll get to the Colts, obviously, when we get to the AFC, but I don't think that's just a cakewalk by any means.
Yeah, they probably get out of that 1-1, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a likelihood. I mean, there's a likelihood they could go 2-2 or 2-0. They could go 0-2 to start that one. But I'm
well,
just,
now let's break down ties.
I'm looking through this. Like after that, it's Titans Vikings, so that they could easily be at or above 500 through the season. Rams, Cardinals, Texans, Jags. It gets pretty light for them on the tail end of the season as they end with Bears, Vikings, Saints, Seahawks as their last 4 games, starting from latest to earliest into the season. There's just not a lot of opportunity. Maybe they split with the Lions. I just don't see a lot of opportunities unless they just shit the bed. And I think the Josh Jacobs signing, that's underrated. I think nobody's really talking about that. This is going to supplement Jordan Love massively,
For sure.
Regardless of what you think about the guy. We don't have enough time for that shit. But I think that this is a guy that is you're basically, you got better Aaron Jones is what you got. And I think that's just going to make this team better. Crazy. I'm going to take the over on this one as well, and I'm actually going to lock it.
Wow, saucy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sauce.
No, if I wasn't locking the Bears under, I'd be locking the Packers over. I think they have a legitimate shot to win this division this year. Obviously, it's going to be the Packers and the Lions fighting for it. But the Packers did nothing but get better this offseason. Like that's all they did. And with Josh Jacobs there, Corey, you literally hit the nail on the head. They improved at the running back position, which is only going to improve their offense. The receiving core is young. They've got a lot of talent there. It just all needs to come together. And Jordan Love, man, he showed at the back half of last season, why he deserved to be paid. Maybe not as much as he got paid, but he showed why he deserved. Definitely taking them as a 10 or 11.
Doing a good Stephen Hawking's right now, Bob.
Yeah, Bob, you're up. Yeah.
I want to go to the island. I want to go. Take me.
Can you hear me now?
Nah, that's beautiful.
Okay, so I just need to stay right here and not move my head. Great.
Yeah, probably.
Fantastic. So we're just gonna stay here and be a robot for the rest of the evening.
Dude, that's so.
Sorry, I was kind of moving, and then
It's all good. You're good, baby. You're good.
Corey, do you want to take over? I'm just kidding.
No.
All right. Well, next up on the board, we've got the Minnesota Vikings and J.J. McCarthy, backup quarterback, torn meniscus, out for the season. Sam
No.
Darnold is going to be
Not out for the season.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Is he really?
Yes.
Absolutely. He's having a reconstructive surgery that is going to strengthen his knee, so he is out the entire season.
Yeah. Can we get the freezing cold takes to tweet out JJ McCarthy's tweet from literally yesterday? I'll be back in no time.
Oops.
Joke's on you, pal. Have a nice seat behind Sam Darnold for the next 18 weeks. Yeah, but we got Sam Darnold leading the Vikings. Hopefully he doesn't see ghosts this year. The Lions at 7.5. Corey, who are you pointing at?
No, I'm just doing Sam Darnold.
Oh, okay, got it.
Mononucleosis.
So I thought too. I thought mono. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Aaron, 7.5 Vikings. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the under here. Maybe Sam Darnold has a good year. I don't know. I like he could very easily have a season that we saw Baker Mayfield have last year with the Buccaneers. Like that's very much on the table where it's maybe the talks of his demise have been greatly exaggerated. Very, very possible. And when you have a guy like Justin Jefferson to throw to, that's certainly going to help out a little bit. It'll be interesting to see when Hawkinson can come back. But we were just talking about them the Packers getting rid of Aaron Jones. He's going to end up in Minnesota. I think there's not enough tread on those tires necessarily. Obviously, they have some other guys to go, or certainly other guys on that offense too. But I think there's a very large step down between the rest of this division and then the Vikings. So I'm going to lock the under here, just knowing for the fact that we got to play this team the rest of these teams 6 times.
Dude, I'm looking at their schedule and I wish I could change my lock right now because it's
brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
It's brutal.
They're hitting the under. They're hitting the under hard.
Yeah, I wish I could change my lock. So if I get quorum from the rest of the group, please allow me to do that. I'm taking the under.
I'll change my under from the Bears to the Vikings if you allow me to. I'll allow you to change it if you let me change it.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I want to be right. They might beat the Giants week 1, and then they got Niners, Texans, Packers, Jets, Lions, Rams, Colts, Jaguars. Then they maybe get a break the week before Thanksgiving. We're in mid-November. They may have won 1 football game. That's it, dude. Absolutely fucking brutal start to the season for the Minnesota Vikings. All hope may be gone. Justin Jefferson, my ankle, take a seat for the rest of the year type deal. Dude, absolutely insane.
It's brutal. It's really bad. So, Todd.
Yeah, look, here's the thing, fellas. If this defense doesn't give up, 35 points a game, Brian Flores is going to get a head coaching job again. Because Corey's right. Their schedule fucking sucks. It sucks. I do agree with Aaron. I think that this is a good one and done year for Sam Darnold to potentially get to go somewhere else that's in a rebuild and get another 2-year contract or something. That's kind of where I see this going. I think just roster up to down, I'm most intrigued on what year 2 for Jordan Addison looks like. They have 2 guys that are very easily 1,000-yard receivers on this roster, right? And they could suck so bad that it doesn't happen, but both of them, obviously Justin Jefferson has the ability to go 1,000 plus, but I firmly believe Jordan Addison also has the ability to go 1,000 yards plus too.
Just got carted off today.
I saw that.
Doesn't look to be serious though.
Yeah. So, they in terms of planning for the future, they gave Darisaw a very handsome contract to be the left tackle of the future. I think that should be a good sign for JJ McCarthy as this franchise continues to move down the track with him. But yeah, dude, this is just a gauntlet, and this is a super tough division in the NFC. Probably, I would say the second toughest division in the NFC. And then you couple that with, it's just, again, this is a team that didn't get better in the offseason, in my opinion. So you got to take the under here, in my opinion. And I'm locking her in. This is my lock.
You said 7.5, right?
Yeah,
7.5 is the line. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is
crazy.
This feels 5 and 12 at
Is it
best.
still 7.5?
Ted, thank you for the like and the share. Josh, thank you for the like. Aaron, you had the under. Did you lock this one?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so got it. Fantastic. And then moving on to the last team in the North, we got Corey's pseudo team, the Detroit Lions. 10.5 games. Corey, over under.
I'm weary here.
10.5 is a big number.
10.5 is a big number. 10.5 is a big number, and it's a big number coming off of the best season that your franchise has ever had.
And still somehow heartbreak.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a heartbreaker. I mean, you give up 28 points in the second half. It's a tough look. It's a tough
Making
look.
it to the NFC Championship game is a big win, though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's only one winner every season, so 31 teams feel the way the Lions felt. Well, at some point in the season, they feel that way. Whether or not it's on the national stage with only 4 teams to go, that's something else. But I think it's a pretty favorable schedule, to be honest, as I'm looking at it right now. Obviously, Matt Stafford coming home for week 1 on Sunday Night Football, I believe. So that'll be exciting. Then the Buccaneers. Let's see here. I'm just kind of walking through this for the first time. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a pretty easy schedule, to be honest with you. Give me the over. Give me the over on the Lions 10.5. I'll drink the fucking Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid. Let's have some good times and give me the Lions the over. It looks like a very easy schedule for them. I think if they're even 90% of the team that they were last year, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for them to be better. Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously one of those. Obviously Sam Laporta, Jared Goff continuing to function in that offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't go anywhere. JMO, if he's able to continue to become what he can be in this league, and not to mention the biggest questions for me is going to be Arnold. What is he going to be for that? What is he going to bring to that secondary? And then Aiden Hutchinson. What are you? Are you a star, or are you one of the most overrated top 3 picks in the history of the NFL? Because he vanished in the NFC Championship game.
Yes,
Absolutely vanished. Was not on the stat sheet outside of the first fucking drive. The first drive. That's insane. And this is a guy that has the ability to do it. So, Aiden Hutchinson, what are you going to be? Are you going to get a Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra, Jared Goff contract? Are you going to earn that? Because now's the time for him. So it'll be interesting. That's a big question for me. Obviously, DJ Reader, a huge add to them in the interior of that defensive line. Todd, you and I know him very well. So I'm rooting for them. What I really don't want is Bengals-Lions Super Bowl, because then I'll just lose a lot of friends up here in Detroit. But outside of that, go Lions.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I had said, like the Packers and the Lions are going to be fighting it out for this division. Like it's going to be close. 9.5, 10.5. Both of those lines are eerily similar. I think the Lions are the better team. I like the running game in Detroit better than I like the running game in Green Bay.
A lot to work with.
Yeah, tons to work with. Obviously, Jared Goff's coming off a really solid season, and you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's not a receiver on the Green Bay Packers that touches him. And then Sam Laporta. He's only going to get better. So give me the over here for the Lions, 100%. If I hadn't already had a lock, this would be my lock. Really like the Lions this year.
It's high praise.
Yeah, boys, this is a full belly franchise. Everybody got their big Christmas plate in the offseason, right? St. Brown got a big contract. Sewell got a big contract. They paid Taylor. Yeah, Goff. They paid Taylor Decker. They made it explicitly clear to him after they paid Penei Sewell, like, hey, buddy, we know we got to give you some money. Just take a breath. Let's get things worked out.
He did report, by the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is all gearing up to me for like a full unity season for Detroit, and someone's going to go 10-7, someone's going to go 11-6 in this division, and this is the 11-6 team. So I think Corey is the validity of the Aiden Hutchinson statement is very real, because you can't be a superstar and not be a big game player, right? Yep. We don't consider anybody that doesn't play in big games a superstar, and this guy is. I mean, this is the most simple recipe for success. This is a true Michigan guy playing for a franchise that's on an upswing, and you can't fuck. He's
a Detroit guy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like this is it. This is the perfect opportunity for arguably one of the best faith-based movies that football has ever had. Right? Like, so I'm taking the over here, and I think that sometimes I think we've seen historically there are teams sometimes when players get paid kind of compensated all at the same time. There's some lax that happens. But I think the NFL did a really nice job giving them the first 2 weeks back-to-back teams that played in the playoffs last year. I think that is a very nice kind of fuck you to Detroit. Like, hey, you earned it to get to the championship game last year. Now let's run it back a couple times and see what happens. So if I'm the Lion, I'm playing with a chip on my shoulder if that's the start of my season.
That's an interesting point.
All right.
Yeah, just so I'm not regurgitating the same points, I'm gonna take the over as well. I mean, yep. we're all at the very least passive Lions fans, but let me just bring up my point of view and why. Jared Goff in a dome last year, 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, outdoors 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The Detroit Lions are going to play 3 games this year outdoors.
Wow.
I'm going to take the over.
Whoa, that's
crazy. So what you're saying is the ADP of Jared Goff needs to be a lot higher than what it is.
If stats and history holds true, absolutely. Jared Goff is an entirely different quarterback when the roof is closed. His two, obviously, the Bears and the Packers are going to be outside. Corey, I know this is the first time you're looking at the schedule, but
give
just
me
to look at
JG
it just a little bit. Yeah, just to look at it a little bit deeper. Their only other one is going to be the 49ers, which is their second last game of the year. So Bears 49ers are two of their last 3 games.
That's going to be a huge game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, let's say they lose all of the outdoor games. Fine. You still have 14 indoors. I'm going to take my chances there.
That's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
Thank you for the in-depth analysis there, Mr. Mailing. That was
someone's got to do it.
That was excellent. That was excellent. Thank you, sir. All right, we're about halfway through. For those of you that haven't already, please make sure you like it, share it. If you're enjoying the content, please make sure you tell a friend. Let's move on to the NFC South. We've got the New Orleans Football Saints to lead things off. 7.5 games.
The New Orleans Football Saints. We had to get that distinction in there.
Absolutely, like the football Giants, the football Saints. Leave me alone.
Beautiful.
I'm drinking the Basil Hayden and feeling myself. 7.5 games for the Saints. Todd Gottschall leads off.
Dude, the Saints are it's a nightmare down in New Orleans right now, fellas.
Is it Katrina bad or?
No, it's not like a national catastrophe. It's more like it's the end of the night. You're like, boy, I got these keys in my pocket. Do I drive home or do I call an Uber? What's the more responsible thing to do? The responsible thing for the Saints the responsible thing for the Saints to do is to go 4-13, absolutely blow the fucking doors off of this organization. They're in cash hell, fellas. They
have been for a while.
This was the sixth year in a row that they had to fight their way to get out of or into the salary cap. 6 years. And what do they have to show for that other than making it to an NFC championship? Not shit, boys. I think this is the last year of, Cam Jordan and Demario Davis and Lattimore. I could see teams. I could basically fire sale the trade deadline for the Saints. Is kind of what I'm getting at, fellas. Because I think the wheels will be off. I'm taking the under. This will be my lock for the NFC South.
Oh shit!
What was the line again?
Yeah, 7.5.
7.5. Feels about 4 too strong. I actually, if I'm going to put a bow on this thing, I believe that this is the worst team in the NFC.
So I'm going to go ahead and just, for the interest of time here, I'm going to just Yes, Todd. I'm also taking the under, and I'm also locking this.
All
Wow.
right, Aaron.
I'll take the under, but I won't lock it. I don't like this roster at all. Outside of like Olave.
Michael Thomas, dude.
Nope.
I
Nope.
don't even think he's still on the team. Yeah, no.
Not anymore. He's gone.
Did he get picked up anywhere?
Alvin
He's a free
Kamara.
agent.
That's nuts that Michael Thomas is not going to be a
Alvin-
Saint. This will
dude,
be the
sure.
first
I
year
always
in our
thought his name
adult
was
lives that
Alvin
he's not a
Kamara
Saint.
because that Q's always next to his name.
Oh,
What?
nice. Dude, nice.
Dude, good
Questionable.
fantasy joke. Good fantasy joke there. That was nice.
That's good. That's good.
I'm also going to agree with Aaron. I believe this is an under, not a lock, but I think it's definitely an under. So
It's the worst team in the NFC. I'll die on that fucking hill.
okay,
Giants will compete for that.
I think there's a few teams that have a bone to pick with that argument.
If you are that hold strong though, Todd, that's a great bet.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
it's a pretty good line on FanDuel. So
It'll be fucking sweet too when they have the first overall pick and they just put it up for grabs. Because I can see it because they're going to fire everybody. That's what's going to happen.
if you call that, that'd be pretty incredible.
Thanks, man.
All right, well, let's move on. We've got the Falcons. Kirk Cousins in the Bijan Robinson led Falcons. Is anybody going to put faith in Kyle Pitts this year? Who knows? But the Falcons are 9.5 games. That is the line. Corey James.
So Falcons have the easiest schedule in the NFL this year. That said, they have the best quarterback that they've had since
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan's
Michael
MVP
Vick.
season. Matt Ryan. I mean, it feels like a long time ago. That was like 8 years ago.
3 years ago.
Well, since they were good with Matt Ryan.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, this is there's a talk about we talked about a lot of weapons on the Commanders. There's a shit ton on the Falcons too, and Kirk Cousins can step in here and be effective with the easiest schedule. Kirk Cousins coming in, a ton of weapons, sneaky good defense,
And so this
in
isn't over. Is he locking it? Is the question.
Although I already
Lock-
locked the
lock-
last one, you
yeah.
drunk bastard. But I didn't. I didn't say it's an over because I feel like 10
Don't have to
wins
be
is-
so aggressive.
You're right. I don't. I apologize. 10 wins is a lot. 10 wins is a lot. But I think they do it. I am taking the over on the Falcons this year. I am bullish on the Falcons this year. I think that this is going to be one of the better defenses in the NFC, surprisingly. But I like what they did last season. I think they continue to build on that. They kept a lot of continuity in that secondary. I think that they probably win. I could say at least 5 divisional games this season. I think they can sweep the Panthers. I think they can sweep the Saints, and I think they maybe split with the Bucks here at this point. Taking the over.
Okay, roger that. Todd.
Fellas, they traded for Matthew Judon today. I don't know. I can't believe nobody even
Saw that,
said
yeah.
anything about that. Yeah, that's a
I did not
big
see that.
addition. That's a big addition to a 3-4 defense, especially when your brand new head coach is a defensive, as one of the better defensive was one of the better defensive coordinators over the last few years. I think Corey's point of this being like a sneaky good defense in the league is there's a lot of validity to that. I think one of their biggest pain points over the last couple of years has been pressure on the quarterback. I believe that they've made the necessary changes on defense to apply pressure, and then it's a tough secondary. And oh, by the way, they just keep spending money on fucking first-round offensive picks. So I could see this kind of being the culmination, right? Like, obviously Kyle Pitts is what he was. Don't forget he had a great rookie year, and I still believe that those are the training or the fucking wheels didn't fall off of Kyle Pitts. I believe the wheels fell off around Kyle Pitts, right?
Yeah.
And I think Drake London showed that he has the ability to be a good physical wide receiver in an offense and again, this is the fucking offensive coordinator or the quarterback's coach from Sean McVay's offense. Like, this dude knows what he's doing as well. Yeah, boys. This is, to me, the Falcons are a team where we're talking about like week 13, 14, that they're potentially like an overall number 1 seed in the NFC. Based on strength of schedule and just, I mean, I think that this is the potential to be a 13-win team, fellas. Really, if you break it down and look week over week, that
he's not wrong. Their schedule's
yeah. And
I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just bold.
It is.
They're going to put up a shit ton of points,
like a shark.
That's my main. That's my main. Like a ton of points coming out of Atlanta, and it's been a little bit since we've said that.
Yeah,
right? Like it's been a long time since Atlanta's putting up 42 points on the board. I think we'll see that several times.
Another one of our biggest frustrations with the Falcons last year is not using Bijan Robinson enough. That's a benefit now. He has less tread taken off the tires, right? He wasn't
Same with
beat
Kyle
up
Pitts and Drake London.
Yeah, fair enough. He wasn't beaten up last year for nothing, I guess is the point that I'm expressing there.
Yeah.
So Todd, you're taking the over, or are you locking it?
He locked the Saints.
I already locked the Saints, buddy.
You drunk bastard, Bobby. Drunk bastard. It's fine.
You made me. I questioned myself there for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't I just?
With as much of an argument as you gave, I'm surprised you locked the under when.
But I also just said the Saints were the worst team in the NFC.
But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it for you, Todd. I'm locking the fucking over on the Falcons.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, easiest strength of schedule. Tons of weapons. Kirk Cousins can sling it. He's got an absolute ton of weapons. He's got a very young, agile, quick running back that is going to get more usage this year than he did last year. Hopefully for every future fantasy owner like myself. Definitely looking forward to Mr. Bijan Robinson being on the roster. But yes, 9.5 seems extremely light. I see this being at least a 13-4, 12-6,
wow,
or 12-5 team, like easily a 12-13 win team. Like this division is so weak outside of the Bucks. That's easy. That's easy 9, and that's easy 10 game cash, 100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna just echo you guys there. I'm also gonna take the over. A lot of 1 o'clock games on that schedule, boys. We love that for our boy Kirk.
Kirk at 1. Legend.
Let's see though. Like we're talking about this stable of offensive weapons. It's cool to have the cigarette boats and the cars and stuff. If we're not going to take them out for a drive, it's not really worth shit. Sure. Boats safe in harbor. Let's put that thing out to sea. Let's see what they can do this year. One thing we haven't mentioned, and we can move on: addition by subtraction, getting Arthur Smith out of there.
Yeah. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes. And we
somebody had to say it. It might as well have been me. So,
buddy.
All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield in the house. 7.5 games. Will Mike Evans be another 1,000-yard receiver?
What's the over/under on that?
That's what I want to know. That's the most important. Yeah, it was so low. It was dumb.
Just make it fucking 999.5. Just do it. Don't be a coward.
That's what it has to be.
I'm pulling it up right now. So
Please.
Go ahead.
If it's anything less than 900, I'm fucking hammering it.
I'll start here. I got this before it moved down to 7.5, but I have again, no one wants to hear about your fantasy team or your bets, but I have a 10-unit bet on the under here. I hate this Buccaneers team.
What is a unit for you?
$10.
Whew.
So yeah, $100 if you want to do the math. I
10-unit bet on $10 is a pretty easy.
But again, it's eight. I got it at 8.5. I did it very early. This team was the I guess somebody has to fucking do it of the NFC South last year, where it's like somebody's got to get in, and it was Tampa Bay. They don't get the fruits of that labor because they're going to have the hardest schedule in the division. Although everybody in this division is going to have a pretty easy schedule because they all have to play each other relative to last year's schedules. I don't want to bet against Mike Evans. I'm certainly not going to do that. But even Baker last year, he played fine. And like I alluded to earlier with Sam Darnold, maybe we see a season like that. I just think they're holding on to too many older players, guys who have retired recently. I just don't really like this roster. It's kind of the same way I feel about the Saints, top to bottom. I don't like it at all. Even at 7.5, I'm going to take the under.
Gotcha. Just for
And I'm locking it.
Oh, you're locking this one. Okay, perfect. Aaron, did you take the over on the Falcons?
I did. Yeah, I think we all do over on the Falcons.
Yep. Okay. And then you're locking the over on the Buccaneers.
Under.
I'm sorry, the under.
For the record, the over/under on Mike Evans receiving yards is 1,050.
Nice.
Okay, a much better line this year. But yeah, for the Bucs, I'll keep it short and sweet. They're going to be the second best team in this division. Taking the over, not locking it, but taking the over. They're going to be an 8-9 team or a 9-8.
I was wrong. I did put it in at 7.5.
Let's go. Corey.
7. What's the over/under?
7.5.
A lot of bad teams on this schedule, boys. A lot of bad teams in this schedule. I think 8 wins. 8 wins and being under 500. Yeah, give me that. Give me the over.
Taking the over. Cool. That's right where I'm at. Todd.
You guys remember how I thought Todd Bowles was going to get fired last year because the Bucs were going to be so fucking terrible?
Yeah.
Dude, just chugging along. I agree. 8-9 fits this roster and the schedule. Just like a fresh pair of slacks.
All right. Over it is. All right. Well, let's move to the most dog shit team in the NFL this year, the Carolina Panthers. We've all got it's 5.5. I think we've
New
all
England
got
Patriots have a bone to pick with you, sir.
Yeah. So do the fucking Broncos, dude.
5.5 games is the over under for the Panthers. I am absolutely taking the under here. Does anybody oppose?
I got to pull up the schedule. So go ahead and
I
tell
think
us
it's
why.
close. I think it's closer than you think, but I would feel a lot better being wrong on the under and just absolutely hate myself for taking the over and the under. And so I'm gonna roll with you here, Bobby, and take the under as well.
Yeah.
I do not believe that they're going to be the worst team in the NFC South, but I do believe that they will only win 5 games. So
Yeah. I'm just looking at their schedule. There's 6 games that they can maybe win. So go ahead and give me the under on them as well.
Cool. Moving on. That's about as much time as the entire NFL is going to spend on the Panthers this season.
NFC West.
NFC West to round it out. Tez, if you're in the building, this one's for you. We got the Rams. The line is 8.5 games for Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua and the LA Rams. 8.5. Yikes. What does their schedule look like? I need to pull it up.
Pretty middle of the road. To be honest with you, they got a tough start in the first 3 weeks ago. Rams, Cardinals,
the Rams.
Niners.
The Rams. Got it.
I'm sorry, Lions, Cardinals, Niners to start things off.
It's an inner squad.
Yeah, it's the yellow and blue game. Lions, Cardinals, Niners to start. Then they have Bears, Packers, Raiders, Vikings, Seahawks, Dolphins, Patriots, Eagles, Saints, the Bills, the Niners, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Seahawks. And you had that line at what, Bobby?
I'm taking the over. 8.5.
8.5.
Give me the over. I'm not locking it, but give me the over.
I'm with you. I'm with you here, and I am actually going to lock this. I'm going to take the over on the Rams. I think this is a sneaky good team. I think people just are forgetting how great of a coach Sean McVay is. The biggest thing for the Rams, can Matthew Stafford stay healthy? If Matthew Stafford's on the field, this team has a chance to win this division. I'm going to go out and say that. They have a chance to win this division. You know what? You think Puka Nacua is just going to get worse? Cooper Kupp's still there, guys. Like, this team is going to scheme around its playmakers. That's what they're going to do. And Matthew Stafford can sling it with the best of them.
Yeah.
As long as you can keep them upright. They had some bang up on their left tackle. Name's escaping me right now. He was banged up in practice 2 days ago. Yeah, so he got banged up, but so that's a question mark. That's going to play a big part in Matthew Stafford staying clean, obviously. But as long as that happens, this team is going to be a hell of a football team. They're going to be one to contend with, and they can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Shout out Al Pacino.
Got it. Todd.
Yeah, dude. I'm never gonna rule. Last year solidified for me because I attempted to rule out Sean McVay, and I was wrong. And I don't like being wrong twice about the same thing, fellas. That really grinds my gears. Really grinds my gears. Yeah, dude. I think Kyron Williams and Blake Corum as a backfield is going to surprise a lot of fucking people in the NFL.
That could be rookie. Blake Corum could be NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I mean,
he's very talented.
The depth that they hold at the running back position is strong. And obviously Matthew Stafford's always going to be able to sling it. They went out and got first and second round and got the two guys from Florida State that they absolutely wanted to go get, right? Obviously losing Aaron Donald changes a lot of things defensively, but I really think Braden Fisk is going to be a fucking monster in this defense. I really, really do. His athleticism and size, basically playing, a hybrid edge tackle, like they're going to be fucking nasty on defense, fellas. It's going to happen.
Fair enough. Aaron.
Yeah, I think one of the things we haven't touched on is the retirement of Aaron Donald. I think he's, covered up a lot of warts on this defense over the years, but man, 8.5 seems real light, boys.
Yeah.
That seems very light for the Rams.
I guess, what we're talking about is the injury concerns with this team. Matthew Stafford, is he going to be able to stay healthy? Cooper Kupp's had his concerns. And just the way I've watched Puka Nacua play is this guy has no regard for his own body. And I really would love to see him protected a little more. Don't get me wrong. It's super fun and exciting to watch. But trying
his
to
body.
Yeah, exactly. I usually
very fun body to watch, Corey.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the whole thing. Everything he's got going on there.
Sick,
dude. It's awesome. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under, guys. I think this is
wow. We're all
I'm taking the
vibes
under
here today.
I don't feel
it.
good about it, though. You don't feel good.
I don't feel good about it, but I'm taking the under. Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett behind Matthew Stafford.
Yeesh.
Hey, but how about Stetson Bennett going out throwing 5 interceptions, then the game-winning touchdown? That's a competitor right there.
Good for you, fella.
In a preseason game, 5 interceptions. That's insane.
Did he? Oh shit! Did he really?
Yeah, dude. It's insane.
Yeah, 5 picks.
That's
He's back.
fact.
He's back, dude.
But then he threw a game-winning touchdown, so everyone's like, he's got it.
Mental health.
Everyone's like, you know what?
What that really shows
you
is the
threw
depth
5
the
picks
Rams
and
have on
they were
defense.
tremendously horrible. Like they were
Dude,
bad.
they were bad. They were really
They
bad.
were horrible.
They were like tip balls.
And then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna roll out to the left and hit a receiver coming off a route because I was scrambling and I threw it at his fucking shoelaces and he magically caught it.
It's got that dog in him.
And he was on Good Morning America the next morning, wasted.
Nice. Good for him.
All right, well let's move a little bit further up the West Coast here. We're gonna head to Seattle.
Literally all the way up the West Coast. Yeah, that's awesome.
That was the one thing I missed when we were talking about what we've done. I was in Seattle this year. It's fucking incredible. I love that town.
Do we even ask Aaron what he did this summer?
Yeah. I said I got a promotion, and then I forgot to mention I went to 2 national parks, rented a camper.
He went to
van
2 national parks. He hit the Starbucks National Museum or whatever.
We did walk past the original Starbucks
Me too.
on Pike's Place.
I've done that.
The line was ridiculous. Coffee in Seattle, though, so good.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Checks
Excellent
out.
to hear. So the coffee in Seattle is at 7.5 cups.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over here. I'm locking it.
Oh,
I like Seattle a lot. I think they're just. I think you look at all these other teams in the division, and they're the team that we don't want to talk about at all. And I don't understand why. I think Geno Smith has done a very good job. I think Jackson Smith and Jibba can take a jump this year. I still think their defense is still pretty good. I look at. I mean, they start Broncos Patriots. Let's get off on a good roll here. They finish Vikings, Bears, Rams. I like the way they start. I like the way they finish. They're going to find some wins in the middle there. It's just not a big enough number for me to want to fall under it. And I think this, of all the divisions, AFC or NFC, I think this was the hardest one to find locks for. And I like the number on Seattle the most out of this division. So I'm gonna lock the over here.
Did I lock the Rams?
That's what I was getting ready to ask. Did anybody have a lock on the Rams? I don't
think
that.
I did.
Would you like to?
No, I'm going to lock the under on the Seahawks, though.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
What a dick.
We have a discrepancy.
Yeah, I see rebuilding coming in Seattle. I see it coming hard and fast. You know what I'm saying? But I don't.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I think the shine has kind of faded for me on Gino a little bit. Yeah, they've got a couple of really like Kenneth Walker and Jackson Smith. Obviously DK and Lockett, like those weapons are really nice, but I don't see this being a Seattle team of old. I think they have to hang with people. Like I think in my eyes, this team is going to have to like outscore people. That's how I see this team playing, and I don't see that being a normal Seattle team. So it just feels weird for me. Obviously, they lost the best coach to ever be a head coach in the NFL, so that's something that's a little scary. So I don't know. Give me a lock. Give me the under. Just vibes, baby. It's just vibes.
Cool.
I don't have a
Vibes.
reason.
It's
all
just
vibes.
vibes tonight.
Just vibes.
It's all vibes. Todd, what are your vibes saying?
Yeah, my vibes tell me Aaron's vibes are bad on the Seahawks.
That's fine. That's fine. I've done this with you guys now a couple years. You've been wrong.
Yeah.
Well, quite frankly, what you're saying is not true. Nasty guy.
I love a good.
He's
I love a good impersonation of Shane Gillis doing Donald Trump. I appreciate that.
Oh, he's nasty.
Yeah, I'm locking the under here too. There's nothing else. There's nothing else in this division that feels lockable, other than the under on the Seahawks. Yeah, new coach, new regime. It feels like this is kind of going to be a hard reset after this year.
Okay,
Man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna take the over, but I'm not locking it.
Okay.
Everybody
it's
made
just
valid,
solely off Pete Carroll.
everybody made valid points, but
Yeah.
Pete Carroll's gone. So
Addition by subtraction.
addition by subtraction. Give me the over. Not locking it. Don't feel good about it, but I like it.
It's fair.
Pete Carroll wants to take away Merry Christmas. Terrible.
The Arizona Cardinals, 7.5 games is the line. Donald Trump, Corey James,
Yeah.
Shane Gillis, whoever you are, what do you have?
So this, I mentioned Blake Corum could be Offensive Rookie of the Year. The Cardinals have the Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's Marvin Harrison Jr. That said, sorry, you said 8.5?
7.
7.5.
7.5. 8 feels a lot to me for this Cardinals team. I think though Kyler Murray is going to remind people how effective he can be. Rookie head coach that I think might be a psychopath. Hell of a weapon on the offensive side. I think they've got some sneaky players on defense as well. This is a team that's going to have the most one-score losses in the NFL. They're going to hang with people. They're not going to really get blown out a lot. I think they're going to be a competitive football team, but I think I see these guys picking 8th overall, 10th overall, somewhere in that range next year. Give me the under.
So this is kind of feels like a Lions sitch from a couple of years ago to you.
This feels like give me a worse version of the Jaguars is kind of where I'm at.
Got it.
All right.
Todd, who you got?
Yeah, I got to take the under here too, fellas. There's nothing. It's obviously we're some time prior to our mantra for these birds, but I do believe that this is a significant improvement. I think offensively, if I'm going to bring anybody up, I think if I'm going to give any fantasy advice, I think Trey McBride's a good pick. If you need a tight end, middle of the pack, I think he's going to get a ton of targets this year. Going to be a real nice compliment for Marvin Harrison Jr. because there's not a lot of people to throw to after him.
Got it. Aaron.
So
Yeah, I'm also going to take the under. I kind of agree, Corey, with about everything you just said there. Like, I think they're going to be a team that's in a lot of games. I think they're going to surprise some people. They're going to win some games where you're like, there's no chance they have in this one, and then they're going to lose some where you can't believe. They're just kind of a weird team. I think they're going to be a team that I'll be happy to have some of their guys in fantasy, but in real life, I don't think it's going to translate into the win column, if that kind of makes sense. And we've seen teams like that in the past.
Sure.
Winning 8 games, again, just seems a little heavy to me, so I'm just going to fall on the other side of it. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys were thinking that this division didn't have a lock. This is it. It's the under. It's the under for the Arizona Cardinals. Like, this is the best lock in this division. They obviously have a lot of talent, but if you look at their schedule, it's a very daunting schedule for the Arizona Cardinals this year. Very daunting schedule.
Yeah, but we do the schedule game at the beginning of every year, and it's like moot by week 3.
Bills, Rams, Lions, Commanders, maybe. Niners,
Bills,
Packers, Chargers, Dolphins, Bears, maybe. Jets, maybe. Seahawks, maybe.
Bills are just like a different version of the Jaguars last year.
Vikings, Seahawks, Pats, Panthers, Rams, Cardinals. Like, that's not 8 games. That's not 8 games. That I don't see 8 wins there.
Playing the St. Louis Cardinals. You
say
did it
Cardinals.
to me. You did it to me.
You're correct. You're correct. So the shit is taken and received. I appreciate it.
Pause.
Nice.
No pause.
Pause. Pause.
No pause.
Nice.
All right. Well, we've got about 10 minutes left, so let's go ahead and round this out. We've got the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
With the highest over-under of the evening at 11.5 football games won. Mr. Aaron Milling.
Why?
Why?
Oh man, this is tough because you have McCaffrey's going to be dealing with it's a hamstring, right? Those don't typically get better unless you actually rest it, and he's probably not going to get the opportunity to do that. It also leads to a lot of other injuries because you're balancing it out differently.
Is he actually hurt?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, that's a good point. Like, I don't really know, but it seems like last year, for a team that has Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels, and George Kittle, they were pretty healthy in a year when a lot of teams seemed like they were dealing on death's door in terms of injuries. And I kind of think the pendulum just swings the other way this year. 11 wins is super attainable. I think they're going to do it. I'm going to actually take the under here, guys. Like I'm from a vibes perspective. I don't know what they're doing with Ayuk. They're certainly not going to get any better than that. I think Brock Purdy is kind of plateaued. That's not to say he can't do exactly what he did last year, but I certainly don't think we're going to see another step up from here. If anything, I think we're going to see some regression. There's certainly, when you look at the schedule, it's not as bad as you would expect for a number 1 overall seed, or what they were the number 1 overall seed this year, right?
Yep.
It doesn't seem as bad as you would for that. I just think they got really, really lucky on the injury front last year. You know, George Kittle played more games than
Not to start the year. Not to start the year. Yeah,
no, that's fair. I'm taking the under here again. I will say though, I feel like this is the division I have the least pulse on, without a doubt.
Fair.
And 11.5 is the highest you're going to get an over under. I'll just take the odd side and say something happens unfortunate.
Got it. Corey.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule here. Aaron, you'd mentioned this. It's not that. I think there's like 9 games they could lose. I'm going to start with week 1 against the Jets. They could absolutely lose that game. Rams, Chiefs, Cowboys, Packers, Bills, Rams again, Dolphins, Lions. That's 9 football games that they could, like, even just like, let's just say maybe like 60% of them they lose, right? I think that you're getting really close. I'm with you on this one, Aaron. vibes are off in San Francisco for me right now. Not gonna throw out the MADDEN curse. Not gonna throw that out there. Not gonna put that shade on anybody. Don't want it. The league is better with CMC. We absolutely want him playing, but I think that this is a year that kind of runs through the NFC South.
Well, it's also the Super Bowl loser, right? Like we see this all the time.
I'm sorry, NFC North is what I meant to say. But Super Bowl loser. Well, Bengals went back to the AFC Championship game after they
Sure.
lost.
I know it's not unheard of, but it's
Super Bowl loser's tough, but I think they do have a relatively difficult schedule here. There's a lot of 50-50 games here for this Niners team, and just playing the coin toss game, I'm going to take the under.
Roger that. Todd.
Yeah, I think last year was their chance to win the Super Bowl, fellas, and I believe it's passed. Yeah, I'm taking the under here too. Under being we win 10 games or fucking 11 games.
They can win 11 games.
Yeah,
they can win 11 games.
And what Corey just said, like, the Bengals made it back. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be bad.
Yeah, they can win 11 football games, get the number 2 overall seed in the NFC, and this still hits.
What if I tell you they're going to have the same vibes as like the Bills last year?
Yeah,
that's what it feels like to me.
Very fair.
It's like, they're still winning games, but I don't feel good about it.
Are we hip? We've said vibes a lot, dude.
Dude, we're so fucking chill.
No cap, bro. No cap.
You guys are making me feel weird.
Well, it's not the verbiage.
That's because you have a cap on, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's actually just our nipples.
Is that what that means?
All right, well, go ahead. What do you guys got?
No, I'm gonna ride with you. We obviously the Brandon Ayuk trade is up in the air. Me being a Pittsburgh fan, I don't really care what happens at this point. Just fucking
great locker room guy.
Just figure it out. Like he's either gonna be a Steeler or he's gonna be a Niner. Like who gives a shit at this point?
Really?
Like I'm over it. Like I was very excited to get him, and then it's all speculation now at this point, and he's probably gonna come back and be a Niner. So I really don't give a shit. Like he would make the Steelers better, but at the end of the day, I'm not really about the drama. So like,
yeah, he seems like a Raven.
Do we know how his check down blocking is? I'm just trying to do some scouting for the Steelers with Russ.
At this point, he can go jump off a bridge. Like just fucking figure it out. Like,
well, then no one gets him.
Yeah, no one gets
cool.
I think he just seems like a Raven. Like when I heard like, oh, he wants a trade, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Well, it's funny. They're like, yeah, go find a deal. And they're like, well, what team do you want to go to that's going to give you a better opportunity with Super Bowl? And he's like, they're both playing a game of chicken. And it's kind of funny.
Well, they had a sit down the other week. It was like coming to terms and like try and work out a deal again. And then all of a sudden, nope, we're back on the market talking about trade. This is just so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Like,
agreed. Like, I'm over it.
I hate
these off-season drama shows. Like I'm just done with it. Like,
well, that's why I get to the
you're gonna make 20. You're gonna make 25 million in one place and 27 million in another place. Like, just like literally go like walk into traffic. Like, take the opportunity that's gonna give you the chance to win a Super Bowl. Like $2 million at that point is not that big of a price discrepancy.
I heard an interesting take on it. I wish I could credit it, but real quick, it's the 49ers got the best draft capital deal from the Patriots. He doesn't want to go there. And the Steelers gave Ayuk the best contract deal. So right now Ayuk is going back to the 49ers like, give me that deal. And the 49ers are going to the Steelers like, give us this draft capital deal. And they're both just going to wait till someone blinks.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. The Steelers will never bend. Because they're like, we can figure it out without him.
Well, they can afford to pay him. They just don't want to give up the picks because they don't have a future at quarterback yet.
Correct.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They will not.
No reason for them to do so. We don't need it. We don't need a receiver.
No.
We don't need Brandon. Brandon Ayuk isn't the answer long term.
Like I know I have a lot of vetted interest in the Steelers sucking this year. The Steelers should suck this year. That's what they should do. They should suck.
They should.
They should.
Yeah, get you
this is gonna be one of the best. This is gonna be one of the best quarterback drafts in the last 3 years. Coming out.
Carson Beck or Cole Ewers would fit real nice into Pittsburgh, I'm sure.
Hey, I know I'm a homer on this one. I'm just going to sneaky first round pick Graham Mertz. Just throwing it out there. Graham Mertz. Real quick, Bengals signed Jamar Chase. What are you doing? What is the point of waiting? Why? Do you think he's going to get cheaper? Make him the highest paid fucking receiver in the league. Move on. Get it done. Get it done. Thank you.
Don't you know about contracts? Sometimes they go down.
They always go down,
They're
right?
like we're waiting for a dip in the market.
We really anticipate that the running back market's going to make a return here. It's going to eat up a lot of the cap from the wide receiver market.
Inflation's coming down. It's fine, dude.
Yeah, interest rates. Just shut the fuck up. He's so good. Just pay.
Yeah, that 4-bedroom house is going to come down.
It's monopoly money.
Did we somehow get that all in by 10:30? I think we did.
We did it.
10:30. It's 10:30. We're done.
All right. I love you guys.
Chat, appreciate y'all swinging through and coming in hard. I think we capped out at maybe 10, 11 people. So
nice.
You guys were awesome, especially the first day back. We'll be back next week with AFC over-unders. Y'all keep it real. We'll see you next week.
Football.
Peace and love, football, and we will see you then.
Who did?
Peace.
Those are some tough bitches.